It's that time again, the time when the people who you are responsible for are looking at you with hungry eyes, even though you fed them only 4 hours prior. For some reason, they need more. You desperately look in your fridge, freezer, or pantry. Nothing, at least nothing you can think of. You need to think fast. The more you wait, the louder it gets. Think, think, think. You need something. You need a plan. Then an idea comes to you. It shines like a rainbow, a golden rainbow, that is. McDonald's. You grab your keys and head out the door. Stop! That's not a good long-term plan. Let's go make a simple and easy meal plan for you. We've all been there, needing to serve food to our families, and although we have this responsibility every day, somehow it still seems to surprise us.
It sure does.
So let's create a meal plan that will work for you. As fall activities start, you'll become more busy in the evenings, and you have evening activities, and you don't have a whole lot of time to think about what you're going to do for dinner.
We have this struggle all the time. It's probably the biggest struggle in my family is meal planning. We just are so busy with different extracurricular activities coming up in fall. We have soccer, and then we're going to have church events starting and school events. It just gets to be a lot. So even when we have the best intentions of doing a meal plan, it just doesn't always work out the way we plan.
And honestly, that's okay. If you have a plan, that's the most important part. Being able to have a plan is like the most daunting step.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's expensive to eat out all the time.
Oh, yes.
I would say for a family of four, maybe $80, $100 to eat out twice a week?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. So that really, really adds up. So in this video, we are going to show you how you can create a meal plan in a little bit amount of time, and it doesn't have to be that elaborate. When I'm talking meal plan, I'm thinking mac and cheese here. Like mac and cheese, spaghetti, really easy, simple meals that you probably already have all of the ingredients for in your pantry. So let's get started. My first step for you is to do a mobile shopping list. There's a variety of ways that you can do this, but my personal favorite is having a shared Google Docs. And I share it with my husband, and we could just add things as we think of them as we're in the kitchen throughout the weeks. And when you have it on your mobile phone, you don't have the scary thought of, I left my shopping list at home.
Yes, that happens.
Then you're just going off your brain.
Yeah, paper is in the past. You gotta have some type of app, whatever it is. There's a lot of different ones we've used over the years. We've used Cozy app. It's like a calendar, but it also has a shopping list piece. Right now we've been using Notion, and that's how I organize all areas of my life and my business. So that's been great. And then I think, I don't know if it comes on an Apple device or not, but there's one that's just called Shopping List, and you can share it with whoever you want to share it with, and you can do different kinds of shopping lists, whether it's grocery or any other supplies that you might need for the home.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I highly recommend doing it on mobile, whether you do a Google shared doc or some sort of app. I like the Google Docs mainly because it's really simple. I can create it any way I want. The few stores that we go to, I can have separate lists for that. Mm-hmm. And then when my husband's shopping and if I'm at home, I can still be adding to the list. I can write little notes to him and he can see it in real time. So like he can ask me questions and I can be on there answering them. So I don't know.
Yeah, that is very nifty.
Really
no other apps do that, I don't think.
So that's kind of why I really like the Google Docs. So the second tip is to shop your own pantry, fridge, and freezer. So last week we had you guys go sort through your pantry and your fridge and freezer and clean everything that you don't use and haven't been using out. So now you're going to use a PDF that's in the description below, and you're going to write down the items that you have and then create your meal plan around that.
Yeah, that's huge because you oftentimes forget what's in there, and you do have a lot of stuff you can cook from home, but you just don't realize it. So, and don't forget the secondary freezers, right? So we talked about like the main freezer, we mentioned the secondary, but go to that secondary freezer because a lot of times people have all kinds of stuff, ground beef, all the meat. Yeah, dig through it and use it. You bought it for a reason.
Next tip is to gather your recipes, the ones that your family really, really loves. Whether that's in a binder or a Pinterest board, doesn't really matter. I prefer a binder, so I've been creating, as I look things up on Pinterest, finding recipes, I print them off. I put them in the binder, and I can write little notes on them, like the little tweaks I do. I generally don't follow a recipe 100%, so I write down what I did differently so I can make it that way or kind of experiment the next time. So whether you use a Pinterest board or have like just a cookbook, or if you create your own binder, whatever you do, you're going to gather your recipes into one central location.
Yes, one spot is important. So I love when I've done meal planning in the past, I gotta get back into it, which is helpful with this challenge, is to do the Pinterest board. So I would create a Pinterest board for like September recipes, October recipes, and then it wouldn't get like lost, because if you just have one big recipe board, you're gonna find a recipe, go buy all the ingredients, and never be able to find the recipe that you got the ingredients for.
Yes, I love that Pinterest has recently come out with a sub board. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm excited to try it.
Now I have like a recipe, it's like foods I want to try, or foods. I don't remember what the name of it. It doesn't matter. Yeah. But under there, I have dinners, drinks. I have summer foods, and then I also have a board for things I've tried and loved.
Yes.
So then, when I try a recipe from another spot in my board, I can move it or copy it onto the board I tried and loved. That's been really helpful, because then I would be like, I tried this, it was on Pinterest, I'm gonna go try to find it, and I can't find it. It's probably on that board.
That's a great tip. Yeah.
Alright, so the next tip I have for you is to plan only 1 to 2 weeks in advance. And this is because I have attempted to plan a whole month at a time, and then things happen and life gets busy, and I end up not actually using some of the meals that I was like, oh, I need to use this first, and just kind of moving on and losing things in the back of my freezer.
Waste too.
Yeah.
I can't count the number of times I've brought in like produce or something that is going to go bad because you bought it too far ahead of time, and one meal gets pushed back, the next meal gets pushed back, and now all your ingredients are not good.
All your cilantro for your delicious tacos you want to make.
Yeah, not good.
That happens many times. So here I have a monthly calendar, and it's on a hook on my fridge, and I have magnets on the back of it actually, so that it doesn't swing around. And I just plan out the next week, the next week, the next week, and then I kind of X off the ones that we did. So at a glance, we can kind of look back as I plan the next few weeks. I can look back and see what we ate and what we planned on eating but didn't eat. If that makes sense.
You still have the ingredients for somewhere.
Yeah. So like when I flip back to October, I can look back to September and think, we didn't actually make that meal that we were planning on making. That's going to be one of my first meals.
Mm-hmm.
So another type of calendar is what Cassie has on her fridge. It's like a weekly schedule. So you just erase it. This is linked in the description below. She got it off from Amazon, and that's super cute. So the next type of list is just a generic list of the meals that you can make. So when you're going through your freezer and your fridge and you're creating meals, we got spaghetti noodles. We can make spaghetti and meatballs or whatever, right? You write that on the list, and then you can just take from that list and there you go.
Yeah.
So that one is for people who don't want like a set schedule and just want to pick something that night. That would kind of overwhelm me. So I like assigning things to days, but then having the freedom to rearrange it as needed.
Absolutely. And I think too that things change at different seasons of life, right? So summer might look different than fall when your kids are maybe in extracurricular activities, and maybe in the spring they don't do any extracurriculars. So this might look different at different times, so be okay with being flexible and finding what works for you at that season of life.
Another thing is to plan your weekly activities, right? If you know you're going to be gone, like on Wednesday nights, we usually always have pizza because we have church that evening and we don't want to have a huge mess. So that planning in advance is really easy. I know that most Wednesdays we'll be having pizza or something really simple. And the next tip, kind of feeding off of this, is make your schedule visible. Cass has it on her fridge. Can I film Cass?
That's fine. One of my really good
Well, I'm
friends
like
called
Cowboy
me
Cat, and that's what
Yeah.
I thought. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Casey otherwise.
Casey.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
been saying Cassie, haven't I? So the next tip for you is to have your schedule visible, like Casey has on her fridge. I have mine at my house on my fridge as well. Being able to make it visible will help your family also know what's for dinner. So when you get those questions, what's for dinner, you can look yourself and you can tell them to go look at the fridge. And my last tip for you is to plan those leftovers. You don't have to try to have a plan every day of the week. Just maybe 5 or maybe 4, and just make extra big quantities so that you have extra for lunches or other suppers or quick suppers. So
Absolutely, and those leftover days are great for like a night where you have an extracurricular activity because you're busy and you can just throw it in the microwave, eat it up real quick, and scoot out the door.
absolutely. So having a plan is half the struggle, and so you're already there. You're already halfway there, and the other half is actually following through. And not feeling the pressure of going to get McDonald's or going to get pizza or takeout or whatever, because you have a plan. You have it in your fridge and freezer. Just make it. I hope this was helpful. Come back next week to learn how your garage can be the envy of the block.
And if you like what you learned, please share the video with a friend.
And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!